Welcome back to the Key and J Book Podcast. I'm your co-host Jay, along with my co-host Key, and today we have Freida McFadden's The Intruder. Let me tell you something, Key. When I go to social media, any social media app, right? I
Mm-hmm.
see everything. It's always saying, "Why does people say top 10 books?" Not Freida McFadden, right? I consider her
Mm-hmm.
the thriller queen, the thriller god. You feel me? But
Mm-hmm.
there's no other. There's no other. She get the Drake effect. I feel like she's like the Drake of the thriller world because nobody says anything about these other authors. Top 10 books, not this person, not this
Yeah.
person. She
Yep.
gets the only slack, and it's always like that with her books. That's when you know you taking the game over. In my opinion, what do
Absolutely.
you think?
I haven't seen any of those videos talking about Freida McFadden like in a negative way, but I do know she's a very, very popular thriller writer. I've only read The Boyfriend by Freida McFadden, and I thought that was a decent book. So I like her books, and I've been liking Intruder so far. So I say F the haters. I like what she's been doing. I
Right.
like how consistent she is. She's one of the authors who keeps her readers fed. She's always coming out with new books, fresh new ideas. So I don't know. I just say F the naysayers and
Right.
let her do her thing.
Come on now, I'm a Frida guy, so I see everything
Yes.
Frida McFadden. Ain't nothing past him. And I get videos sent to me about Frida McFadden. My boys be like, "Yo, bro, why do people be always saying this stuff about Frida?" And it's like, I'm like, bro, I don't even know what it is. I guess it's just, what I'm saying, when you that good for so long, and each year you could deliver at least 2 out of 3 bangers. Your
Mm-hmm.
name is, what I'm saying, your name is your name. So people
Yep.
going, what I'm saying, say whatever. But today, the book released yesterday, and today we're
Yep.
talking about it right now.
Yep.
Chapter 1. Let's not keep the people waiting. Chapter 1. Casey, who now lives in New Hampshire in a secluded wooded area, used to be a teacher in Boston,
Mm-hmm.
and she got fired for something student related. So right off the back, I'm like, okay. So we're gonna find out. Obviously, we're gonna find out later what
Right.
happens. A storm is coming, and her handyman Rudy. Talk to the people about Rudy. What did you think about Rudy? First impressions.
I thought he was kind of a creepy old man. I think he seems pretty harmless, but he was very, very creepy. He came over late after Casey had been asking him to fix the roof for a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
times, and he wasn't fixing it. And then he's like, "Hey, you can come over to my house during the storm." And so yeah, I thought he was really, really creepy, but not creepy like stalker killer creepy, just like a creepy old disgusting man. And I was really proud of Casey, the fact that she has self-defense skills and she was able to stop him in his tracks, like, I'm not coming over to your house and don't you ever put your hands on me again. I really, really like that part of chapter 1.
He procrastinates to fix her roof, kind of
Yep.
signaling that he was like a janky landlord, right? She
Yes.
knows that it's a tree that feels like it's about to fall on her house. And he's like, well, you can just come stay at my crib. You know what I'm saying? Like, you come stay at my house. And just imagine a janky landlord who reeks of cigarettes just put his hand on your shoulders in a
Yeah.
nasty, freaky
Yeah.
way. When she say he's old enough to be her father, and
Yep.
it's like, yo, you really, you know what I'm saying? And then she just judo chop his ass, flip
Yeah.
him. You know what I'm saying? She threatens him with the pressure applied, and she's like, "You gonna fix my roof too?" And when she replies, you know what I'm saying, I'll fix your roof. I'll
I'll
fix your
fix your
roof.
room.
You know what I'm saying? And then we find out that Rudy, not even Rudy, we find out that she's like a secluded woman, but she's like a strong woman. Like off
Yep.
the back in the first quarter, Frida lets us know that she knows self-defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
She can handle
Mm-hmm.
herself, and that she
Mm-hmm.
has an attitude on her. So right
Yes.
then and there, she has the 3 instance for a survival pack for one of Freida
Absolutely.
McFadden's thrillers. Right. So let's move on to chapter 2. We see which is part of chapter 1 because the chapters is kind of quick. We see that
Yeah.
after she do all that, she threatened Rudy, which is part of chapter 2, and he
Mm-hmm.
decides to fix the roof. We also find out that she has a weapon, a
Yep.
firearm,
She
and
sure
I'm
does.
like, this girl got a Glock. She got a Glock that her dad, that obviously, and I like the inferences that she says about her dad. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It's like she really remembers like the lessons that was being taught about her dad.
Yep.
What can you say about a daddy daughter relationship? Because I'm obviously a man, so I don't really know. But she brings up her father a lot, in the coming chapters. What did you think about her father daughter dad relationship?
Was really, really sweet. I love that in the book she references her father a lot. She seems like they're really, really close. I mean, he's taught her how to shoot, he's taught her self-defense, he's taught her how to take care of herself, which is why, you know, this storm is coming and she's prepared. She's got her candles, she's got her weapon that she knows how to use, she's got
Mm-hmm.
flashlights, she knows to put duct tape over the windows, which Lee, we'll talk about him later, comes and tells her actually don't do that. But her dad has taught her a lot of survival skills. And I really, really like their relationship and how it is displayed in the book. I really did.
And that was part of chapter 3 where, you know, she has these candles placed around the house.
Mm-hmm.
We get a scenery of her house and her shed. It's not really the best, you know, it's a little rinky
Right.
dink, you know, little spot, but it's the best that she could afford. And she wanted to be secluded away from the big city, which she kind of found in the wooded area.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, she lives alone. She has a bunch of candles. Lee comes over. We'll find out what happened with and she's just trying to prepare herself. So the first 3-4 chapters, she's trying to prepare herself for the storm. She has her
Yep.
candles. She
Mm-hmm.
got the situation with her landlord.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're gonna see when Lee pops out. So let's move to chapter 4, where she talks about now we going to Ella. So we switching now POVs. The first 3
Mm-hmm.
chapters was the POV from Casey. Now we're
Yep.
switching to POV. So let me go back real quick. So just think about it in the layers of Freida switching from point of views from before to now. And we're going to
Mm-hmm.
go through that in the whole book as well. So we're going to Ellie now, chapter 4, Ellie before. Principal Garber's office. She's in Principal Garber's office for stealing somebody's lunch. I'm like,
Yep.
first of all, that's first quarter. She's like, I just took his lunch. Like, it is what it is. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie
Right.
to you. I took his lunch. You know what I'm saying? So what did
Yeah.
you think about Ellie in the first interactions with her in the book?
I really, really liked Ella. She seemed like she was a survivor because of the fact that she was stealing someone else's lunch, because she
Mm-hmm.
didn't come to school with lunch, makes me think that maybe her in chapter 3 that maybe her home life wasn't the same. And then the fact that Ella's point of view takes place when she's in school, and then we
Mm-hmm.
know that Casey is a teacher, it made me think maybe they're connected some way. Maybe Casey taught at this same school. You know, I was thinking, how do these different points of views converge? And that was the first thing. Ella's in school, Casey was fired from teaching as a teacher. You know what I mean? That was the first thing I thought when I got to Ella's point of view.
Okay, yeah, for
Yep.
sure. And then
Yep.
after she gets that, she gets detention for a week, right? And she
Yep.
runs into after she leaving the office after from stealing the lunch, she runs into Anton. It's Anton. I
Mm-hmm.
gotta be like Anton Peterson, who's an eighth
Uh-huh.
grader like herself, right? And like he just jump on her the rip, calling her ugly. I'm like, yo, this dude's on 1,000. You know what I'm saying? Then we also running, so they kind of passing each other. You know, while she's getting her sentence hand out to her, he's coming in, he's gonna get his sentence. So they
Yep.
share a little moment where he disrespects her crazy, crazy.
Yep.
And then as she's keep on running out, she runs into Brittany Carter, right? Who she
Mm-hmm.
says she loved to trade places with, right? She thinks that Brittany Carter is the creme de la creme, the cream of the
Yep.
crop of the school. She's the
Mm-hmm.
darling of the school. She could do no wrong, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she thinks that she's cool. Like she even says, like, you know, I don't think she has a problem with me, except she didn't get it. She didn't invite me to her 4th grade birthday
Great
party.
party.
I'm
Yep.
like, yo,
Yep.
you holding that grudge, sis? Like something is going on. And that was
Yep.
like our introduction to Casey. A little snobby, a little sassy, a strong minded, definitely got a spunky attitude. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like, so
Yes.
I
Absolutely.
really dug her in the first quarter, like off the
I
rip.
did too. Yep.
So we can switch over back to Casey now. You
Yep.
know, in chapter 5, we find out that she has her closest friend was her father, right?
Yep. Yep.
She doesn't have a cell phone. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And what's some of the other things that you got from chapter 5?
I put, she better go in that dresser drawer and get the blicky. That's what I put. There is a part, something's going on in the shed in chapter
Yep.
5. In Casey's point of view earlier in the book, I forget which chapter it was, when she was putting the lawnmower in the shed and she was putting the tree branches in the shed and she was closing it, preparing it for the storm. I knew that there was something, the shed was going to be important. You know, it's on her property, but it's a little ways away. I felt like somebody could easily hide out there.
Mm-hmm.
And in chapter 5, we see something, somebody may or may not be in that shed. Something's going on. And that's what I put. She better go get the blicky. And I
I
love
love
that
that. She better
just
go get the
Casey.
blicky.
Yeah, Casey just seems like a very, very prepared FMC. I really, really like that. Like, one of my pet peeves in mystery and thriller books is when you have a character who's just completely unprepared, who's not very smart, who's not very intelligent. And I really like Casey. I mean, she really is prepared. She's very, very strong. She's not afraid. She knows what she's doing. So
That's
that's
right.
what I put for chapter 5. Get the blicky.
Get the
Go
blip.
home and
No,
get the gun.
that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? She also gets a phone call from Rudy checking in
Yep.
on her. And I thought that was dope. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
she said he only cared because he don't want her to die and be liable for insurance money or whatever. But I really
I mean,
thought
but he
in
didn't have
this
to
one,
do it. I mean, because she
yeah,
almost broke his arm off. You know, he could have
exactly.
been like, you know what, screw you. You on your own out there. But I mean, we see that. I mean, he did set her up and get her a hotel because he's like, the
A
storm
bed
is
and
worse than
breakfast.
what we thought. But I mean, it's a storm raging. She lost
Hmm.
reception, and there was no way she was going to be able to leave her house and like try to find the hotel if she didn't know have any idea where it was, where he booked it, or if she could find a vacancy. So she's just stuck in this house. So
Yeah, now
unfortunately,
because
yeah,
as she's about to, and she was actually gonna leave because when she was talking to Rudy, she was like, "Yo, what's the address?" And then as soon as she said that, the line goes dead.
the
So
line
I'm
goes
like,
dead.
"Oh, so now she can't even." Of course, she wasn't gonna be able to get the bed and breakfast anyway, because that's not the way Frida was gonna set it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the lines go dead, right? And that was the kind of end of chapter 5. And
Mm-hmm.
then she, like you say, she's thinking, she's imagining she saw somebody, through the shed door. She think it's a deer or a bunny or it's one of the animals, but she realized it was a person. And then somebody comes knocking at the door.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, let's go, Frida. Set it up. Because I'm rooting for Frida. I don't want nobody talking crazy about book. So we going to chapter 6 and we still on Casey's point of view. And
Mm-hmm.
who is it? It's Rudy, the nosy neighbor from Trapped in
Yep.
the Closet. But it's Lee, you know what I'm
It's Lee.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Who lives 5 minutes away from her. He's the closest neighbor to her. So he's
Mm-hmm.
gonna play some intricate part in this book too, because you're the only neighbor that's 5 minutes away from her. So we're gonna
Yep.
find out. But what did you think about your introduction to Lee and how she describes her relationship with Lee?
Lee also seemed a little bit creepy. I don't know, like when a woman is living on her own in the woods and you got men who keep bothering her when she's made it kind of clear that she doesn't want any guests or visitors.
Hmm.
I always am looking at them a little leery. You know, Lee, like Rudy, he seems to be concerned, like, hey, can I help you? He tells her the tip about putting the duct tape on the windows is a bad idea because that
Hmm.
means huge shards of glass instead of small shards of glass could break off and come towards her. So he does seem to be really helpful. It's just when the man is like, yeah, come back to my house, wait out the storm with me, that is when, Casey's hunches go up because she's just
Right.
like, there's something about him. She can't put her finger on it. He seems very, very nice. He seems very, very kind, but she doesn't know him. And he comes over and checks on her when she's never asked him to do it. So I don't know about Lee. I feel like he's probably going to play an important role in the story later. I find him a little bit creepy. But even still, I thought that Casey was a little bit stupid for not asking him to check out the shed. Because
Hmm.
when Lee comes over and she opens the door, she has this moment where she debates asking him. He's a man.
Yep.
He could go check the shed for her. He has this flashlight and she decides against it. She's like, you know what? I can take care of myself. And that was the first mistake I feel like she had made. I'm like, he's right there. If somebody's in there, they'll attack him first anyway. And you got your gun as backup. Like, have him go check the shed. But I've noticed this about Casey. She's a very strong FMC. She would rather do
Yes.
everything herself. And
Yes.
there's something that I begrudgingly respect about that. Like, okay, you want to handle it yourself. You don't want to ask him. You don't want to owe him anything. I get it. You don't want him in your business. But I was like, girl, if you don't
Let him
ask
go
him to
check
go
that
look in that
shed.
damn shed, yeah, because you don't know what's in it. You have no idea what's in that damn shed.
Yep. And she don't trust Rudy, because she said he's single, married, not married, no kids,
Yep.
no anything. He's just been nice to her this whole time. And she just don't feel like, but like you say, she's strong minded, strong willed, independent woman. But then she's scared because then she said, oh, I should have had him check up on me. Check for
Well,
what? You know what I'm saying? Like,
because not only does she see what she thinks is somebody going in the
mhm,
shed, but we didn't discuss this. I think it was the end of chapter 2 or 3. But remember when she's in the bedroom and she's getting a candle, she sees a face in the window
looking at her.
looking at her, a pale face in the window looking in. And when she jumps back and when she looks back again, the
It's
face is
gone.
gone. And she thinks it's some kind of hallucination. And then she sees the door in her shed moving. So I'm pretty sure whoever was in her window is going to be the person that ends up in the shed. But we don't know. We just know she's seen a strange face. Somebody's in the shed. And I was like, this is the perfect time. You got Lee here.
Hmm.
Ask him to go search the shed. But it's a book. And I feel like things have to happen in a certain way. So I was okay with her being strong and independent and not asking him to check it. I'm like, all right, girl, I get it. I get it.
And then we move on to chapter 7. We go backwards. We go back to Ellie, right? We
hmm
know that she lives in Medford. So
hmm
obviously that has to be like in New Hampshire because she's
hmm
in the same vicinity
hmm
as, well, we're gonna
We don't
figure
know
it. We don't
that.
know yet, but
Yeah.
she's in a low income housing community. Well, not in a low income housing, but some of the houses have to be made set for low income housing
Yep.
families. We
Yep.
notice her mom's works at a grocery store. She never saw her dad, never even
hmm
saw a picture. Her mom says she is no better than she was at school after they had an argument about she had a fish tank being on her desk. And I'm like, yo, what type of mother are you? She like, yo, it's just a fish tank with no fish. I'm thinking your mom's like surprised her with a fish tank that got fish in it and stuff like that. It's not
It has
even a
pots
fish
and
tank in the
pans in it.
bowl. It's nonsense that's in the fish tank.
Yep.
And she's like, yo, you would think that you would be appreciative. And she's like, I'm supposed to do my homework, ma. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then she trying
Yep.
to brag to her moms. Her mom's just gonna say, she would know better than me than I was when I was at school. I say, yo, this lady is crazy. What did you think about her moms? Her moms was poor growing up. That she blames the baby father for them struggling.
hmm hmm
Typical type of person. What did you
hmm
think about her introduction to her moms?
Yeah, I felt really bad for her in this chapter because her mom just seemed kind of indifferent to her. And this is the first inkling that
Mhm.
I got that her mom is probably a hoarder. The fact that she just
Yep.
goes and buys pointless stuff. And Ella says that her mom tends to do this. She'll just go and buy stuff and put it in her room and use it
Mhm.
as storage. And she doesn't have space to do her homework. She's already stealing from school because she doesn't have food. And now we get introduced to her home life. So it was this chapter that I really started to feel for Ella. Like she's
Mhm.
still really, really strong in my opinion because she's only in eighth grade and she
Yep.
handles like everything
Like a
in the
G.
book like a G. She just takes it. Like she doesn't cry for the most part. She doesn't whine. She doesn't complain. It is what it is. But I really did feel bad for her. I did not like her mother in the first introduction. I was like, you do not treat your daughter that way. But I think,
No.
like I said, I think that will be. I think we have not seen the last of the mother. I think that a showdown is going to happen. Like I really do between Ella and her mom.
And we
I
find
really
out
do.
that at the end of that chapter, she vows to when she turned 18 to never come back to that
Never
house
come back.
again. And you can't even blame her. You know what I'm saying? And then we move back on from chapter 7 to chapter 8. Because again, y'all, these chapters are very short. And the book moves quick in the beginning. Because some
It
chapters be
does.
only like 2 pages, three
Yep.
pages, then you're in the next chapter. The next chapter might be that front page, and the next page, and then the next chapter. So
It
we're not
is.
moving fast. The book is we're moving with the book. So we
Yep.
go into chapter 8 where we going to Casey now, and we talked about that she just doesn't trust Lee or the fact that he's always around.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't been romantically involved in over 5 years, and
Yep.
I'm like, oh, you ain't been romantically involved over 5 years. That thing is singing right now to you,
Some people are celibate. I mean,
right?
they don't have sex for
five
even
years.
longer than that. But she must not be interested.
And we find out her closest friend was her father, which was kind of weird too. You know what I'm saying? She don't have a cell phone because she could, which obviously you couldn't afford it because of not having no money from not
Yeah.
having no job.
Right.
So I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, okay, hold on, let's go back. Let's go
Mm-hmm.
back because I did forget that part. She had that was pretty much chapter 8. I'm sorry. That was pretty much chapter 8 right there. When we go back into that was the chapter that I was like, "Oh, this joint is moving fast." So that was
Yeah.
it for chapter 8. Then we're moving into chapter 9. This is when she finds out that someone is in the two is in she is
Mm-hmm.
deciding whether to leave, like sort of a fight or flight situation. She is imagining that it's a big tall Paul Bunyan type of dude out there, but
I
she
thought
is
that was
determined
funny.
to stay on course. I was like, yo, why shouldn't just have Lee check it? Like some
Yep.
females just be.
I told you.
I ain't saying that I'm saying female, but some females just be taking me. You had an opportunity for this man to go in the shed but
Yep.
obviously Frida's not gonna write it like that. We know that, but
Right. Right.
this is what makes her so good because it's like it's all of this could have been averted if you just did this, but it can't
Right.
happen like that in the book, right? So
Exactly.
what do you think about? We're gonna stop right there for a second. What do you think about Casey so far?
Like I said, I really like her. She seems very, very strong. She seems able to take care of herself. And in this chapter, I had put that I think she's braver than I would have been because the reason why
Mm,
she knows that there's somebody in the in the shed is because she sees a light on in the shed. Now, she didn't
Mm-hmm.
turn the light on. She didn't leave a light on. So she knows somebody turned the light on. And it damn sure wasn't a rabbit or a deer. You know what I mean? It had to
Right.
have been a person. And yeah, she's going back and forth. Should I check it? Should I not? And I was thinking at this point, if it was me, I would have holed up in my bedroom with my gun and waited out the storm. If anybody came through that door, they would have got blasted. And that would have been the end of it.
You took this is the reason why I asked you that question was because I was going. My next follow up was the reason why I asked you was because I wanted to know what would you have done. But now we
Yep, that's
know
what I would
it
have
was the
done.
reason why I asked you. I wanted to say what would have been comparison, like what would Key have done in that situation. So you just
That's what
damn,
I would
we
have
was on the
did.
same wavelength right there. I
Yep,
was trying to get
that's
you.
what I would
I
have.
was trying. I ain't gonna lie. I was trying to set you up for a second there, but you damn, you jumped in front of my damn question, man. I thought I had you. I was like, I know
Oh
I
my
asked her how
god,
she feel about Casey, but now I'm gonna bring her into it and see what she would have done.
that's
All
what I
right, you
would have
got
did.
that one, y'all. You
So
got
she's
that one.
braver than I am, though. She was like, you know what? I'm gonna get my gun and I'm gonna go see who's out in
Hmm.
the shed, you know. And I was like, all right, she did what I wouldn't have done. But Casey, like I said, so far I really like her, and she seems really, really brave. She seems ready to take things on like head on, and I
Hmm.
respect that. So I was like, okay, let's go see who's in the shed.
So then we go into chapter 10 before we going back to Ellie.
Mm-hmm.
Anton is joking on her, but calls her Smeller, right? So now
Yep.
they're back in school because of her clothes, and she says her washer is messed up, and her mom's won't fix it because her mom's is basically like just a hoarder and doesn't have like clean hygiene, has
Yeah.
stuff all over the place. You know what I'm saying? And then also this chapter, this John had me funny. This is when I knew that Ella was on Demons Out. Remember what she told Anton?
What did she tell him? Oh, he said something, and she said something about his
Yeah,
penis.
so
I forget what she said.
Anton says a little tits joke. And then she hit him back with, your zipper with the small dick joke. Shut my
Mm-hmm.
son down instantly.
She did. And I
Because
remember his
listen,
friends even were laughing.
was laughing. And my son just shrunk right into I said, bro, oh my God. Like, that gotta be the worst feeling when a girl
The
in
worst
middle
feeling.
school tell you that you got a small hand. That's crazy work. At that point, I gotta take off on you so I
I
can
mean,
go to detention.
I liked Ella for that. And something that I started to really resonate her with was like being called smelly because she couldn't wash her clothes. I mean, that happened to me when I was in middle school. Like my mom did not have money. We
Mhm.
had a wash and dryer that was in the basement and we was washing our clothes in the sink with dish soap. You know, we didn't have laundry detergent, anything like that. So I'm starting to resonate a lot with Ella. I wasn't as strong as she was back then. So I'm kind of like looking up to her even as an eighth grader. But I really like her. I mean, he calls her Smella. Brittany and her friends are like snickering and laughing at her,
Mhm.
but she legitimately doesn't care. She just goes about her business. Like, you know what I mean? She's very strong, super resilient, and just my respect continues to grow. So, what I could think at this point in the book was that I really, really like Ella. I really, really like Casey, and they remind me of each other. Like, I feel like Casey is, or Ella is probably what Casey was like when she was younger. Like, she didn't take no shit. Like, come on with it. Whatever you gonna do, you gonna do. So they remind me of a younger and older version of the same person. So I really, really like that. I like the parallels between them. And I have so much respect for Ella after this chapter because man, being the smelly kid is not an easy thing. Like it follows you forever. Everybody will always say you smell. And it's such a hard thing to like everybody in school thinks you smell.
Right.
And she just like, oh well, like, and she came back at Anton immediately. Like she didn't wait, she didn't cry, she didn't cower. I just had so much respect for her. I really, really like Ella. Like she's like my favorite character, I think, so far.
So far,
I
so
like
far.
her. Yep.
And then she talks about getting a D on her essay and says
Yep.
Brittany got an A, and she says that her dad is a professor, so she must have inherited her genius from her dad. And then this is when she kind of says for the first time out loud that she wish she knew her dad so she could live with him and she would feel like her life would be completely different. So that
Yep.
just shows you that she ain't really feeling her mom's like that. She not feeling
I
staying
wouldn't be
with her mother
either.
out, yeah. And we're gonna
Yeah.
find out some more reasons why.
Mm-hmm.
But we
Mm-hmm.
know that she does want to be with her dad,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like a sore spot for her.
I think that the fact that the author has mentioned not knowing who her dad is, not once, but twice, I
Hmm.
think that that's going to be an important part of the story. I
Right.
did make a note of that. She seems to really, really want to know who her dad is. And I think one of my predictions was somehow, some way she's going to find out who her dad is in the book. Cause I mean, it was
I
mentioned
hope
twice. So
so.
that's That's what I'm thinking. I hope so. I feel like her dad is probably going to play a part in the book. I don't know how yet, but I feel so bad for my girl. Like, man, she don't have her dad. Her mom is a damn funky hoarder, you know. And I'm just like, damn, it has not been easy for Ella, but she's hanging in there. So
Yeah, yeah. She's doing the best that she can with what she got. And then we
exactly.
move over to chapter 11. Casey is getting dressed, ready to go check the shed. She grabs that Glock G43X. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? As she gets into the shed, and all these creepy things start happening. Doors start flying off the hedges, and wind is blowing. It's
Yep.
not quite heavy on the rain yet, but it's still
Hmm.
enough rain to where it blew the doors off the shed.
Yeah.
And it's she's giving, like, Frida's just describing this creepy session before this girl goes up to her, right? And she
Hmm.
sees somebody with a lump, right? It has like a little lump over it. And she sees a girl comes out with red hair, a coat with a gray hoodie, and it's a girl, and she's holding a
A knife.
knife. I was
Yep.
like, how is Frida tying this together? Like right now, even as us reading, I don't know where we going with this.
I
How is
don't.
these people even intertwined with each other?
But I did like
Why?
that I did like that their stories have finally converged a little bit, because
Mhm.
when Casey went in that shed and she said it was a red-headed girl, I was like, this has to be Ella, because Ella describes when she's talking about her dad, she's like, I wonder if he has reddish hair like me, you know? And so when she says she sees a girl with red hair, I'm like, it has to be Ella. And something else interesting I found about this chapter was Casey talks a lot about her. Her dad was her best friend. She really, really loves her dad.
Mhm.
And I thought it was interesting how Ella, on the other hand, doesn't know her dad and really wants to know her dad. So they are very similar in their strengths. But I love that they differ in that dad thing. Like, we don't even know what happened to Casey's dad
Right.
at this point. We don't know what happened to Ella's dad. We know they both don't have dads right now. But the fact that Casey was really close to hers and then Ella wants to know hers, I like that irony, that mix up, that difference in them. I just thought that was interesting. And I don't know if Frida did it on purpose, but I was just like, I love the contrast. So that was something else, a note that I made for this chapter.
And then for chapter 12, right after that, which I also like that the chapters is quick because it's giving you this is literally like a movie in slow motion. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like the scenes and everything like that. So chapter 12, she basically, spoke to the girl, invited her into the house, trying to get her out the house and out of these hazardous conditions. She's being slow with it though, because she sees the girl has the knife in her hand. So she's
Mm-hmm.
being methodical with what she says to the girl, like trying to lead her in the house using her teacher ways. And that was what chapter 12 was about. Just getting her into the house and making sure that she was safe, right? I
Yeah.
would have left that little girl outside. She would have stayed her
Well,
ass in the
and
shed.
something important is that not only is Ella, or we don't know if it's Ella at this point in the book, we just know it's a young girl in the shed. But not only is a girl holding a knife, but she's also covered in blood, you know,
Drenched
and
in
that was
blood.
drenched in blood. And that was really, really jarring for me. Like the note I made was covered in blood. Frida,
Hmm.
please, my heart can't take this every chapter. Because going back to what you said, like Frida's chapters are very, very short. So it's like you're
Yes.
getting through the book really quickly. And I usually don't like short chapters because I like to live with my characters a little bit. But what I love is that each chapter kind of ends on a cliffhanger. A
Hmm.
chapter in the beginning ended as Casey seeing a face in the window. Another chapter ended as a knock came on the door in the middle of a storm. Somebody's in the shed. Like each chapter ends on this cliffhanger that makes you like anxious to keep reading. So I
Hmm.
really, really love that. The book feels thrilling to me.
Yes, setting us up. She says she
Yes.
also says something about she said the girl, like we already said, she won't let go of the knife and she's covered
Mm-hmm.
in blood. And then Casey keeps on bringing up one thing I want to say in between this because now we almost at the half we had past the halfway point now. She keeps bringing up stuff that her father says. It's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of my father quotes in here, so you can tell that's one of the ways that you can tell she was close with her father, probably not so much with her mother because all
Yeah.
her life lessons that she says, even in the book, is in like italics almost, and it's like quotes or things that she learned from her dad. So I'm like, her dad must have really kind of taught her how to survive out here. So that was one of the things too. And she describes the girl. She says she looks around 12 or 13, but is built like she's between 10 or 11 years old. So that
Yeah.
means this girl must be lacking. What's the malnourished? She must be
Malnourished.
malnourished because she doesn't have the proper weight for the age. And you know how she can tell I like that because she's looking at it through a teacher's lens.
she's a teacher and she's used to assessing students in that way. So, and the fact that Ella like looks at her certain ways with stuff that she's saying. So she's like, oh, I can tell that she's a teenager because she gave me
Right.
this look or that look. So we also don't know what school or what grade that Casey teaches in, I don't think. So that's
Not
what
yet.
made me curious too. I'm so curious about her background, especially when she mentions, oh, as a teacher, I used to do this and this.
Right.
I'm like, why the fuck did she get fired? I'm so curious.
I can't wait till we find out. Yep. And as we move on to chapter 13, she invites the girl in to talk,
Mm-hmm.
and they talk about like Frida also describes like, how the storm is coming. So I like how Frida's writing this book. Not only is she writing it from, the perspective of Casey talking about the girl, but she's also still keeping the storm watch for us
Yep.
in the book and letting
Yep.
us know the storm is not quite here yet, but it's coming because this is happening. This is happening. It's not just raining as of yet heavy, but this is
Mm-hmm.
happening. My tree is swayed this way. One
Yep.
one false blow this way, and then it's gonna cave, and we'll all just be dead, right?
Exactly.
And she also says that this mysterious teenage girl has a bloody nose, and she also says it can't be that much blood that's running from her nose that it got all over her body and her coat like that. So it didn't
Yeah,
just
because the
come
little
from a
girl
nosebleed.
says that she
Mhm.
got a nosebleed, but it's so much blood that Casey is like, I know that she has to be lying.
And-
And going back to what you said earlier, I would have left that girl out. I mean, I feel like I probably wouldn't have even went to investigate the shit. Like
mm,
they just because if you would have tried to come to my house, I would have shot you if I
right,
felt like you were a threat.
100%.
So it wouldn't have. I would never have been in this situation. But Casey is a teacher, and we can see she's used to hunting or not hunting, but she's used to shooting. She's a very good shot.
Shot.
So someone was gonna try to do something to her. I have no doubt that she would have been able to shoot them
Right.
point blank. So I'm confident in her skills. She can handle this type of stuff. Me, not so much. I would have never met this little girl because I would have been cowering in my room,
Yep.
holding my gun, just like
I would
this,
have
waiting
put
for
the stuff
somebody to
on the
come in.
bed and just I'd have pushed the bed against the door, put the dresser by the
Literally,
window. You put the dresser by the window, you put something by the door. What other way can they get in? And then you
they
prepare.
cannot get in.
I got the gun on. I got the gun on me. You know what I'm saying? Anybody come through this room getting shot at. You know what I mean? So that's really
Absolutely.
how that was. And then she says at the end of the chapter that I make a grave mistake by letting her in. And that was how chapter 13 ended. So now we go into chapter 14, which is Ella before. Ella finds this is where we find out that Ella was a little hustler. This is when she wanted to take out the trash for Mrs. Fleming, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Fleming is like, after she take out Mrs. Fleming's trash because she want money for the chores that she was doing. Ella wants to get some bread. Mrs. Fleming accuses her of stealing money from before when she did the trash before out of her purse. And Fleming is like, I'm gonna call the board of health and get you and your mother kicked out. And Ella's so scared, she like, nah, I don't want no problems with her because I know Miss Fleming, she'll definitely call the cops on me. So I'm just gonna take this one, and next time I'll get my money up front, or I'll ask for my money up front. Next, she starts talking about her mom's boyfriend, old ex-boyfriend Chip, and how him and Ellie had a good relationship. When he was around, the house was more tidier than it
Yeah.
was. You know what I'm saying? He used to get her mom's bread for gas and groceries and stuff like that. And her mom's kind of seemed a little bit more normal because she had love in her life. But she
Mm-hmm.
said once Chip left and everything broke apart between them two, that's when the mom started taking a turn for the worse again and started acting out of order, treating her like basically like shit.
Yeah. I was confused a little bit in this chapter because in Ella's interaction with Miss Fleming, Miss Fleming was like, I know you stole this money from me. And Ella's like, Miss Fleming, that's just not true. So I was just so confused. Like, so did she steal it? Is she lying? Like, it wasn't clear. Like, even in
Right.
Ella's point of view, it was like, she really was like, I didn't steal money from you. But Miss Fleming also brings up the fact that she talked to Ella's mom. And Ella's mom is telling anybody who can listen, yeah, my daughter got in trouble for stealing at school. So I think that is also why Miss Fleming feels justified in being like, I know you stole this money from me. But Ella's just trying to get the money so she can have enough coins to wash her
Wash her
clothes
clothes,
because
right.
she can't wash her clothes. And but the note I made on this chapter was, man, living with the hoarder is not for the weak, I tell you. Because we officially understand that her mom is a hoarder. She doesn't throw anything away. She keeps
Hmm.
everything. She keeps plastic bottles. They have plenty of food, but it's expired and it's stale. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Which is why Ella starves a lot of the times, why she can't eat anything and why she steals people's lunches.
Yep.
But so my compassion for her just continues to grow. Like, this is my girl. I'm just a sucker for an FMC that has a hard life. So I'm like, oh, poor Ella. I just feel
I'm
so,
so sorry.
so bad. I know. And I'm pretty sure I was pretty sure at this point that the girl that Casey is with in the book is Ella. And I was so happy that she was away from her mom and like she's with Casey, who is a kind, caring person, especially when it comes to kids. But I'm so curious what that blood means because
That's
Ella
too
came to her
easy
with
though. I
blood,
still
you
don't think
know?
that that's Ella. Like that's too easy. And
It
this is
is.
how you get caught up in the Freida McFadden thriller. She makes it too obvious and then topsy turvy that mug on us,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
then basically now at the end of that one, she says, "Mom wants me to do something, but I don't want to do." And that's how chapter 5. That's how chapter 14 ended. And I was like, "Well, what does she want her to do?" But
I was so
immediately,
confused too because the mom is about to go on a date
mom is
and
about to
she's
go on
like,
a
"Mom,
date. She's
no."
about to
You know, I'm
leave.
like, and I'm thinking, what would her mom want her to do that she's afraid of? I was so
Right.
confused.
I
Like,
was
what?
thinking it was something sexually or like I ain't gonna lie to
That's what I
you.
was thinking. That's what I
Really.
was like. Is she gonna have like her strip for her boyfriend or something? That's what I
Right.
was thinking. You know, because I'm thinking what we find out in chapter 15. It
Yes,
was
that her mother want go ahead. Go ahead. I'll let you go ahead.
yeah, chapter 15. And this is where I really, really like Frida's writing. It was so descriptive that I could smell what Ella was smelling in that closet.
Mm-hmm.
So, the thing that Ella's mom wants her to do as she goes on a date is she locks her in a closet, okay, the entire time that she's away for the date. And Ella begs and pleads with her mom, please don't, please don't. But you know what didn't help her is the fact that she came home and she started throwing away all the old stuff, and her
Yep.
mom caught her. Her mom is a hoarder. She's like, I can't even trust you to be out here by yourself, so I'm going to lock you in the closet. And she locks her daughter in a fucking closet while she goes on a date. And so at this point, I'm like, because hoarders, they can't really help it. It's like a disorder. And I was feeling bad for the mom. I didn't like her, but I was like, I'm like, I hate the mom. You put your daughter in a closet, and while Ella is in there, she starts smelling something disgusting. And keep in mind, her mom is a hoarder. She don't throw shit away. And what she finds in the corner is a bag of peaches that have gone sour, that have gone rancid. The peaches are almost liquid at this point, and there's maggots and larvae wiggling around in this bag full of old, decaying, rotting peaches. And she is forced to be stuck in that closet the entire time her mom is out on this date. I was furious. I was so freaking mad at her mother. But also, like I said, the smells, how Frida is describing it in this
Mm-hmm.
chapter, Jay, I could smell it. Like I feel like I was like that's how I felt because I'm just like
That's
it
how
was
Frida
so
do it, baby.
descriptive.
That's how she
I
do it.
felt like I was in the closet with Ella smelling
Right.
that shit. And I was like, oh my God. That just I felt so bad for her. I was like, I hate her mom. Like I hate her, hate her, hate her. So
It's all good. It's all good. Which brings us into Casey's POV for chapter 16. She's getting settled with the girls, and she noticed that the girls' backpack has some clothes in it. Couple of other items. I'm just like, Casey, I like how she's writing. It's like every time we leave from Ella's point of view and we come back to Casey's point of view, she's still on that mother hen slash teacher type vibe. And it's not like she's passing by. She's describing everything as like it's like almost as she left off right there and she
mm-hmm.
kept us right there until we got back. So that's
Yep.
kind of what I liked about chapter 16. She just kind of
Mm-hmm.
getting settled with the girl, noticing everything that's going on with her, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, Frida's just she's just fantastic, man. She's just fantastic. I will say that. And then that was kind of it for chapter 16. What else you got for chapter 16?
Put a note and I said, what's in the bag?
Bag, right?
Because as Casey is looking and monitoring this young girl who was covered in blood, she also notices that her pink book bag on the floor has a red stain on it and it's leaking blood out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there's a weapon and has a lot of blood and is leaking, if it's bloody clothes, if it's a head. I mean, who knows what's in the bag? But that's what I said. What's in the bag? I don't know if you've seen that movie. It's Brad Pitt. Is it Samuel L. Jackson and Brad Pitt? It's the one where he's like, "What's in the box? What's in the
I don't
box?"
remember that.
It's but that was me in this chapter. I was like, "What's in the bag? What's in the bag?" Because I'm like, what is leaking blood in this bag?
Right.
Because it
And
can't
why
be the fact that
you gotta grab that. I don't care if she got a knife or not.
right,
You gotta grab that.
right. I'm
Something's in
just
there. Could be
thinking
Ed.
Casey is like she doesn't want to shock her, she doesn't want to scare her, so
Mm-hmm.
she's proceeding with extreme caution, but she's not moving quick enough for me. I'm like, come on, check what's in the damn bag. I'm
Facts.
impatient.
Facts. Chapter 17 pissed me off. Like I was on fire. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was on fire reading
Okay.
chapter 17.
Okay. What pissed you off about it?
This is the chapter where we kind of start talking about this mystery girl has cigarette burns on her arm.
Yep.
As they eating, she noticed that the girl had cigarette burns on her arm. And she says, see, she asked her name and she sees the knife and Eleanor, and immediately old girl said, nobody calls me by that name. I hate that name.
I
So
hate that
she
name.
noticed her looking at the joint, kind of sizing her up. And Ellie like, yo, don't think you gonna make no moves on me. She still
Yep.
don't really fully trust her yet. And then when she kind of says, nobody calls me by that name, that's when I'm thinking she's like in deranged mode. But I was like, damn, yo, who put cigarette burns on their arm? And I still don't think this is Ellie though. Ella. I still don't think this is Ella. I
I
hope
mean,
it
I think
is,
that tracks with
but
Frida
it's on
McFadden.
track what she said. But
because
I just
because
can't
Freida
trust
McFadden is
Frida.
one of those writers. I remember even in The Boyfriend, I was probably a third of the way through, and I knew who all the players was because, and one of the critiques I knew I was gonna have when I finished that book, and I had to slap myself on the hand because I was wrong. Was this book is so predictable? That's what I was thinking. Oh, it's just so predictable. I
Because you
know
was
this
feeling
is this,
yourself.
this is this because I was like
The thriller
the
detective.
clues lined up almost too perfectly, and I was like, I don't know
Right.
if she's just a bad writer or I'm just that good. And I turned out to be wrong. You know what I mean? Like I
I'm
was
just that
wrong.
good.
I was really like, I'm just that good. And I was wrong. So I agree with you. The fact that everything is pointing to this girl being Ella, the color of the hair, like the eye color, which we're going to find out later. Ella has blue eyes. This girl has blue eyes. The knife that says Eleanor, the nickname for Eleanor would be Ella.
We don't know that yet.
Right. The cigarette burns, which we find out later, like connects both of these points of view. It seems
Crazy.
like you said, it seems a little too easy, too convenient that is the same
And
person.
this is
And
how she
we're
does
less
it.
than 100 pages in. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
it's too soon for us to know. So I catch what you're throwing down. I just go with it when it comes to Frida. I know she's gonna get me in the end. So that's why I'm just like in my head, okay, that's Ella, and I'm content to know that
Mhm.
later I will be wrong. But that's what I'm thinking at this chapter. Like it's
Exactly.
Ella, Eleanor. Ella is short for Eleanor, but we'll see. Like you said, she be tricking us.
And she's beating up that spaghetti, right? She got the spaghetti.
But
She beating
she's
that spaghetti
and
up.
that also tracks Ella is hungry. She never eats. So I'm
Hungry.
just thinking
She's
it's
like,
Ella,
yo,
you
is it
know.
touching her tongue? Like she's like,
Yeah.
yo, she's going in. So as she's watching her eating, she's asking her all these questions. And that's when old girl look up at her like, yo, Trick, I'm eating right now. And don't ask me no more goddamn questions. You see,
Questions,
I'm still
literally.
first of all, the fact that she's holding the knife like that and eating and not even
Hmm.
looking at her, Eleanor is dangerous. Eleanor is dangerous.
She
We
is
move
dangerous.
and we move on to chapter 18. They make an affinity promise. I got that in here right here right
Hmm.
off the back. They make an affinity promise, right, of dysteria, which is basically you die of doodling too much, right?
Yes.
Death by doodle. And she kind of badgers her about Lee because she gives her the cookies. First, she basically gives her the cookies, right? And she's like, well, where did you get the cookies from? She's like, Lee. Well, who is Lee? Is that your boyfriend? She's like, no, Lee's not my boyfriend. Well, just kind of going back and forth, like a kid was, asking a mad questions. And then
Hmm.
she felt like she was almost giving away too much information. And I'm like, what is going I like the dynamic though, the little back and forth banter between them about Lee and
Yep.
her being her boyfriend, and we find out more stuff about Lee and how he cooked for her, for her birthday. He was the one who bought her those birthday cookies, and that if she she got that on the night that she went over to his house, he made a steak and potatoes. They had a good evening. She was like, if I would have had some booze over there, I probably would have wound up kissing him and it would have led to something else,
But
because
she wasn't ready for that.
Lee is
She
not easy. Lee is easy on the eyes. You know what I'm saying? He's a good looking man, and she would have fell for him. So that was kind of why she had to catch herself. Like, nah, I'm not about to explain all of this to her right
right,
now. And that was
right.
pretty much chapter 19. What do you have for chapter 19 or
I put
18?
I know Ella's on the run. Well, I know Ella's because in my head this is who this person is. But okay, I know this little girl is on the run and
Eleanor
everything. But little girl got an attitude.
attitude.
So she has a really bad attitude. I did not like the way that she was talking to Casey. Like, well, who's
Mm-hmm.
that? What's that? What did you? I was like, little girl, she just rescued you from the rain. You need to watch
Mm-hmm.
yourself. But or Ella, or whoever this little girl is, this
Eleanor.
mystery girl, Eleanor, if that's who she is, she's carrying a knife. Who knows? But she says, Casey asked her, where were you on your way to? And she was like, I'll know when I get there. She says something like that. So we know that this little girl wasn't just hiding in the shed for no reason. She's on her way to
On a
somewhere.
mission.
And at this point, I was like, okay, I was like, Freida, I got it figured out. Okay. I was like, Ella she killed the mom and she's on her way to find the dad, and the dad is Lee because he lives in the cabin and she somehow knew that he was out there somewhere. So that's because I was thinking, why would she be going in this over here in this cabin? Like Casey lives in the middle of nowhere, Jay. It like no one would stumble on this cabin. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking she probably was trying to get to Lee, or and she found. So how I am. I'm a detective, so I'm just already like got all these theories. Look, I'm okay with being wrong, but I cannot not speculate.
I want you to know you're wrong. I love you. Sure.
In my head, I'm like, I'm already putting it together. Freida's not gonna get me. Like, that's Ella. And watch me be wrong about it all. But I'm just like, so, and then I'm like, yeah. So when she said, yeah, I know when I get there, I'm like, she's looking for her dad. That's what she's doing. She's trying to find daddy because it's Ella. So that's what I have for that chapter. I was like, I got the story figured out. I know. I already 19, got it.
You got the story figured out. These chapters are so short. And you got it all figured out in less than, you probably at like 80 pages right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And I'm like, I already got it figured out.
We move over back to Eleanor, right?
Yep.
That's what you want to call her. We move back to Ella, and she has a project. This is a quick chapter. She's in class right now, and she's getting the classroom is getting assigned projects, and she gets assigned with Brittany, but Brittany objects because she said, I carpool with Crystal. You know what I'm saying? So it would just be right. BS reason, which is why I should be assigned. Right. So then we obviously know that she's getting. So now Ella is going to get, and like she says that Brittany is like the class, you know what I'm saying? Like the class princess. So of course the teacher's going to let her, work with Crystal. And then we find out that she's assigned to Anton, who makes another joke when he says she smells again in front of the whole class. And he doesn't like the fact that they're partnered, and they both are not happy with being partnered with each other. And that was kind of just chapter 20, her being in class and she's going back in the memory.
The way that they treat her. And you see, again, she is not one of those characters who's balking at the fact that these people are saying these mean and disrespectful things and treating her this way. Even after he says that little slick shit, because she smells, she still goes up to him at the end of class and is just like, okay, so when do you want to get together to work on the project? She's all business. Okay, anyway, fuck all that talking shit. When we go do the project, and he's basically like, you do it yourself. He's such an asshole. Like, I literally could not stand Anton.
But keep going. You remember how it happened? So now that was it, right? For chapter 19. So it keeps in Ella's perspective. Now we staying in Ella's perspective right now. You know what I'm saying? For the next couple chapters, we're going to be from Ella's perspective. So she just had that situation with them in class, right? Next thing you know, she's walking home because she doesn't have a bike, can't afford the bike. So as she's walking
home, by the way, I'm like, did she not catch the bus?
Herself.
I was curious about that. Do they not have buses? Why is she not on the fucking bus? I don't know. I just like, why are you walking a mile home? That's crazy. Like, do you walk a mile to school? I was confused about that. Not that it's a big thing, but I was like, I feel so bad for her. Like, she has to walk a mile. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you good. As she's walking home from school, she sees Anton, but he's getting his ass whipped, and I mean bad. Our boy, eye, lip, nose, all busted open, right? Getting beat up by my boy Devin, and like Ella's like, yo, I kind of like him getting beat up. Like he just was saying all this crazy stuff to me.
I was like,
so it's like, yo, I'm definitely like whoop his ass. I'm just gonna sit here and watch because she was walking past and she kind of heard it. She thought it was teenagers having sex, but now it was Anton getting his ass whipped. But then my son Devin backed out the switchblade on him, right? Once he backed out the switchblade, Ella was like, nah, now you're not playing fair. I'm cool with son getting his ass whipped, but now you just pulling on a knife. That's like, something. She kind of made an emphasis about like, having a weapon is like having two people or something like that kind of jump on you or whatever the case may be. And that's not fair. That's when she picks up a rock just out of nowhere. Like she said, I ain't know what happened. And she just bashed my son Devin in the head. And here go Anton. Yo, you killed him. And that's how the chapter ended. I'm like, yo, she killed him.
And I'll tell you, Freida does this intentionally. She literally leaves us on these cliffhangers. Anton was like, you killed him, Ella. And in my head, please don't let him be dead. And in my head,
that would have been her first body.
That would have been her first body. And I was so mad at her because I was like, not that I wanted Anton to die, but I was like, I wanted to see what was Devin gonna do. Like, was he gonna carve him up? Like, he was so mean. He was so nasty to her that he did not deserve for her to step in and help. But again, this just shows how much more mature Ella is than I am, because I would have seen it And I probably would have just kept walking. Like, that's what he deserves. He deserves to get his ass whooped. I
Yep.
would have been happy. I wouldn't have even stayed around to see the switchblade. And maybe Anton wouldn't be here, because I
That's
would have been
true.
like,
That's
yep,
true.
get that ass whooped like you deserve. Let me carry on about my business, But that's how Ella is. She's fair. She's like, I don't even like him, but let
But
me, I'm
let me
like,
help
damn,
him
girl, you
out.
could have pushed him. And this is something else that I noticed. Devin had a switchblade. The
Wow.
girl that is with Casey has a switchblade, and it looks like she wrote Eleanor. She wrote in Eleanor. It's not carved in. That was something I noticed, and I was like, Devon is a violent dude. He's not going to forget about the fact that Ella then bashed him upside the head with a rock. He's not going to forget that. So I feel like we have not seen the last of him, and I'm thinking, if this girl who's with Casey has the knife that Devin had, how did that happen? Did
Right.
she kill him when he came back for revenge against her? No, that's how my mind is working. So that's why I was like, I got to figure it out. I know what happens.
Can't do that. Can't do that. I ain't even trying to figure nothing out because Frida is throwing that in there for you so you can take the bait.
Is that
This is how she
true?
get this is how she get people, and then they be mad because they couldn't guess it. All of this stuff is because they just was mad they didn't get the Frida McFadden thriller. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Nobody gets it. What did they said in that skate? It's provocative.
It's
Nobody gets it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it is. You know what I mean? But we move on. That was chapter
Oh, wait, that was 21. Was that chapter 21?
that was chapter 20. We get into chapter
20.
21 right now because
All
that was
right.
it. Chapter
Mm-hmm.
21, they head to Ella's house, right? She's like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, you can't come to my crib. My mom's is there.
I
You know what I'm
wouldn't want
saying?
nobody coming to my crib either. My mom is a hoarder, shit everywhere. She's
Right.
like, no, you can't. Anton's just like, please, I can't go home looking like this. I would have been like, I
Mhm.
don't give a fuck. I don't give a damn. You talk shit about me at school. Go tell your dad and explain it. But she's too nice. She's way nicer than I would have been.
Yeah.
And my mama house look crazy. You are not coming in my damn house. But
So, yep.
she lets him come over. Yep.
And then when he gets over there, basically he convinces her to let him get in there, to wipe himself off. So he goes into the house. He's cleaning himself off in the bathroom. He goes home. I mean, she goes downstairs because she's like, yo, I can get him a shirt from Chip. And my mother likes to keep all the stuff, which is in this sense a good thing. And basically she go down there. She doesn't really want to go in the basement because it's all cluttered. She says, I had a dream about the clothes kind of piling up on me in my
Oh yeah.
dream because she thinks that everything down there is icky and is scary. So she's just like, all right, I got to go down there because I got to get this dude a shirt. She gives him a shirt. He comes upstairs and he basically, kind of was like, yo, your couch is cool. When she thought that he was going to say some crazy off the wall stuff, that he's living like that because he's talking about your couch is cool. Like your crib
I'm
is
like,
all
two
right.
mattresses.
Yeah. He like, yo, your crib is all
But,
right. It's
but
better than
yeah,
mine.
it's
You
better
know
than
what I'm
mine.
saying? It's
Yep.
better than mine. So as he said that, it's like, okay, like you and then he said that too. Like they agreed to work on a project. And he even told her, like, yo, you can't take a joke. You know what I'm saying? When he kind of joking on her, he like, yo, you can't take a joke. And she's like, nah, like on some just chill stuff. She just so worried about her mom's coming in because she just don't,
As she
she
should
don't
be.
want to focus as she should be because she know how her mom's is gonna act up, right? And
She
then
know her
all of
mom
a
is
sudden,
insane.
the door clicks and her mom's is about to walk in. But she
Yep.
tells my son, yo, hit the back door, hit the feet, get on your feet, hit the back door. And that's what he do. My son, but he's smoking on her cigarette. Mind you, before that,
Yep.
he lights one of her mom's cigarette butts up. And she's like, yo, you smoke? Like almost like you smoke. And he kind of takes a puff, hits a ring, got the ring coming out of the
Yep.
cigarette. And she like, yo, you smoke? And he's like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? And she kind of couldn't believe it. So after that, even though he left after he beat his feet when the moms came in, because like she said, my moms was supposed to be here for another hour, but the moms popped in early. You know what I'm saying? And then we know what happened after that. My son beat the feet, ran through the back door, and all of his left is her mother walking in.
Yep. Yep. I want to say too in this chapter, I found one of the comments to be kind of funny. As Ella and Anton are walking home, she tells us about Miss Fleming. Miss Fleming fell down, hurt her head, and she's in the hospital and she's not doing too well. And then Ella said something funny. She was
I
just like,
got
in other words, I have money for lunch
I
all
got
week. So I
money.
was like, so she was stealing from Miss Fleming
And
and
she pushed her ass down the stairs.
you think she pushed
Or
her?
she pushed her.
Think that she pushed her. I thought
She
that she
pushed her.
legitimately fell. But that when you say it like that, I'm like, so maybe Ella is like the
How you
psychopath.
know she fell? You be in school, right? How you know she
Yep.
fell?
I don't know, maybe she heard about it. But
But now you got money?
yep, and she got money. I
Because
took it as,
all
oh,
right,
she's been
let's
stealing. But you're
let's say
right.
she
Maybe she
fall.
pushed
Let's
her.
say she fall at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, right? Or let's say she fall at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right? And Ellie would know, wouldn't her door be locked? Wouldn't her house door be locked?
Mm-hmm.
So how would Ellie get money for school
So
lunch
you think she pushed her? It could
and took
be.
the money? Because how else would Ellie get the money? If I fell at 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, Ella's at school. Even if you say she found out that this lady hit Miss Fleming hit her head, well, how did she get her money if her door should have been locked? Because we assuming
I mean,
ambulance came, everybody
the
came.
ambulance came. That's the thing. If the ambulance came, do you think they're gonna remember to lock her door? They're worried about getting her to the hospital. And
I
like
think
Ella
she pushed her
said,
ass.
she could have. I mean, that's a really good observation. When I seen her say, "Well, I had money for lunch," in my head, I'm thinking the old lady fell, but this just proves that she was stealing money from her in the earlier
Mhm.
chapter. But you're right.
Fact.
That's such a good observation. Like she could have pushed her. Maybe that's
I
what the
think
author
she
was trying
did.
to tell
I
us.
think
Yep.
she did. Does that wrap up our first jump? Or we still what we got?
There's one more chapter within the first 100 pages.
22. How could I
22.
forget? 22 was
This
the
is
worst chapter. I
it was the
had
worst chapter. Yep,
let's
I
let's
agree.
get let's get to it, right? Her mother comes in, so her mother walks in and she sees the cigarette lit up. And she's like, "What was you doing?" Her mom's wasn't even mad that she was smoking cigarette. Not in that sense. She was like, "I was smoking cigarettes." She couldn't say she had a boy over because it might have been worse. So she had to take the blame for that cigarette when her mother walked in. And she's like, "Well, what did you think?" She was like, "It's so
I
icky.
hate it. I'm
I
never
hate
doing
it.
it
I'm never
again.
gonna do it again. I promise, mom. I'm never gonna do it again." And at first, her mother was like, "Oh, okay, like you learned your lesson type deal." But she says, "No, you're gonna learn not to smoke, and you're gonna understand why." Her mother takes the cigarette and burns her with the cigarette and tells her that she would never do it again. I'm talking about burned her with the cigarette and basically told her, "Next time it'll be your face." And she's like, "Yo, she wouldn't do that, right? Would
But
she?"
she doesn't know that. She doesn't know that. I mean,
Crazy
now
work.
I already hated her mom, but now I'm like, you're abusive and you're putting a cigarette out on your daughter. So I don't
Hmm.
know if they're gonna attribute if the author's gonna attribute this to some kind of mental illness. I don't know, but I absolutely hate the mom. And again, you see now there's cigarette burns on her arm. The girl that's with Casey has cigarette burn. So that's why all this stuff is adding up. And I'm like, that girl, she has to be Ella because we haven't even experienced another character. Ella doesn't have a sister. She never talks about having another sibling or a twin. Who could this other mysterious girl be that matches exactly up to Ella? But what I'm thinking, no, because I was like, what about Brittany? Brittany is a character that's continuously brought up, right? She's a popular character. She's somebody that Ella mentions at least twice. She only singles out two of the classmates, Brittany and Anton. And I'm thinking, why would the author single these two classmates out if that's just all they are, mean classmates? I feel like they're important. I'm thinking, could it be Brittany? My mind is just going a mile a minute. And I think, like you said, we're right at the 100-page mark. I don't know where this story is going. I don't know who's dead, who's going to kill who. Somebody's going to come out of the storm. Is the tree going to fall? I have no idea what direction Freida is taking the book. And I'm just anxious to get back to it because I'm like, I have to figure this
You
out.
have to figure it out because it's hurting
Yes,
you. It's
it's
hurting you
hurting
more
me.
than it's hurting Frida. But let me tell you, let me
Yes.
give you. So that was it. That was it for the first review, right? So
Mm-hmm.
basically, she burnt the cigarette on her daughter's arm and said she would never do it again. She would never do it again. And that's how that ended, y'all. But
Yep.
I want to say this, right? Before we get out of here. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
make one bold prediction, and this is gonna be my only bold prediction.
Okay.
I believe that Eleanor is Casey, and all of this stuff is imaginative, and we're going back into Casey's old life, into her new life, where she snapped at the school and went crazy and had to come back and live in this secluded area. And she might not have been on her meds, and she might be hallucinating all of this stuff from when this previously happened already. I don't know. I'm just taking it out on a limb on there. I don't really know. I haven't looked at no videos. I guarantee you, because I don't want the book spoiled for me. But I'm just looking at it from a Frida's mind. Her mind is just so out there with these thoughts and these processes
I
and
mean,
how
you would
these
know.
books.
You read like
Right.
all of
And
her
I gotta
books.
be,
Yeah.
you know how the detective is always trying to find the killer and they be trying to find him for like 20 years. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, Johnson, I think I finally cracked the case. And it's like, she slipped my hands again. Why? So now I'm just thinking I'm on Frida heels with this one. So I don't know. We
I
gotta
think that's
see.
a really good theory
We
too,
gotta
Jay,
see.
because I told you I see the similarities. And I had literally said earlier in the podcast that like Ella reads like a younger Casey. Like
Mhm.
they're like the younger and older versions of themselves. So I think that tracks. She could be having some kind of psychotic break and imagine all this. I think that's a really, really good theory. Yep. But we don't know yet. We don't
We
know
don't
yet,
know.
y'all. We
We
don't
don't
have
know.
enough clues really to put the story together, but
Mhm.
I can't wait. I'm telling you, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna figure it out before the end. I'm gonna get this one. She tricked me with the boyfriend. She will not get me again.
I got you. I got you. Listen, man, this is just the first episode. We got 1.5 episodes left. Hell, where we're gonna be discussing this book, man. If you
Yep.
haven't picked up Freida McFadden's The Intruder, pick it up, read it, catch up to the show because it's only been out for a day. It's a
Mm-hmm.
full day for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Catch up, watch the episode as you because this is not a spoiler free It's not a spoiler free podcast. This is a spoiler. Yeah, so if you haven't
Podcast.
read the book
Yep.
yet, please, please, please read the book and then come in here and let us know what we missed. You know what I'm saying? We haven't caught every line because then we'd be here for about 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of just give you the main important events and follow the
Mm-hmm.
storyline. You know what I'm saying? We gave you some subplots, but we mainly sticking to the storyline, man. Anything you want to tell the people, Key, before we get up out of here?
No, just to go pick up your copy of the book. I have Kindle Unlimited. I have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, so it's
Mhm.
on Kindle Unlimited. You don't even have to buy it if you already have Kindle Unlimited. My co-host Jay got his hardcover copy from Target, so
Yes,
it seems
30%
like it's
off.
out. 30% off too, so you have no excuse. Go get the book so you can read it with us, and then follow
Yep.
us on all our socials. We're going to be updating them there, and read along with us. I want to know what you guys think. What are some theories that you guys are coming up with when you read the book? Please leave the comments below. I cannot wait to read them to see if we on the same page.
I got you. That was so eloquently put by my
Thank
co-host.
you, thank you,
Thank
thank
y'all
you,
for watching the Key and J Book podcast.
thank
I'm
you so
just the
much.
speaker. She's the reader. Peace. Wait.